Hello everyone, this is Direwolf20, and welcome to episode 98 of FTB Interactions, where today I am making light wells. Why am I doing that? That's a good question. Actually, I have a really good answer to that question. Guess who ran out of liquid starlight? Your buddy Dyer ran out of liquid starlight, and I brought one rock crystal too many, or too few. Doesn't matter which one I get. I'm not worried about attributes of the simple crystals. Yeah, I ran out of liquid starlight. How crazy is that? So I was just logging in today to start messing around and see what we're gonna work on. Probably keep going towards that massive assembler thing. Wanted to update you guys on what I worked on, and I noticed I wasn't getting any more power in my batteries, and I'm like, hey, why did I run out of power? I assumed that my that my oil ran out. So I was like, oh yeah, I just probably run out of oil. That's, you know, happens. No, that was not it. I had plenty of oil. I was out of liquid starlight. So, to remedy that, I made 6 more light wells, which are gonna go something like that. So we're gonna clear all this out. And we're going to replicate what we've got over here. So over here on this light well, we've got items insert on green and fluids extract on green. Cool. So if I were to do something like this and this, we would do insert and extract always active. And insert and extract always active. And then he should be producing, you know, liquid starlight slowly but surely. I'm assuming it's working. And then we kind of just, you know, do that across the board. All right, so insert. Oops. Insert. 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 So everybody should be making nice liquid starlight. Good. And then extract on green fluids. Because remember, we use liquid starlight, and a decent amount of it, to be fair, for our cetane boosted diesel stuff. And part of me is wondering if I should go the Naquita route. I was starting to think about this a little bit last episode and getting into this episode. So long story short, between episodes, I made a few things. I did not replace all my circuit recipes, which I said I was going to do. So maybe I'll do that off camera real quick. But I did make a handful more Lapitronic energy orbs. These things take a long time to fill up. Oh, you know what else I did between episodes? I made myself another diesel engine. Aha! Take that. So that's probably part of the reason that we ran out of starlight. So like, see, we were out of nitro-infused diesel, and that's mostly because we were out of liquid starlight. Nitro-infused diesel, as a reminder, requires 2 buckets of liquid starlight per 10 buckets of fuel. So it's not like too crazy, but also keep in mind, like, we're not making that much liquid starlight, right? Just those 3 things were enough to hold me over when I wasn't, you know, really doing much. But now that we are really doing much, yeah, you know, it's a thing. I wonder if there's like a better, I mean, this thing's like super automated, so I don't see any good reason. I don't think it tells you in JEI like how much you'll get. I don't think it increases the speed at which you produce liquid starlight. And I feel like automating any one of these things would just not be worth it when this guy's making literally unlimited astral enriched eggs. So the other option here is obviously tick accelerating the things. Hooray, all the liquid starlights. So that's where we're at. Completely ran out of that stuff, but we'll get a decent amount backstuffed again now that we've got... I basically just tripled the production of it, so hopefully that works out. So what do I want to do today? So we got IV tier power last episode. I would like to make a few more Lapitronic energy orbs, but before I make those, I really should replace the recipes for circuits, right? I really think that would be a smart move. So let's see, like this guy, right? nanoprocessors. So him, we could use this recipe for. Like, currently he's programmed for this recipe, right? Instead, we could use this recipe, which is just a system on a chip, an epoxy circuit board, which we're already making, and 2 final... Like, that is way cheaper, right? And system on a chip, I don't know that we've made these yet. So maybe I should just kind of add these in, right? What other recipes do we got going on here that we can replace circuit-wise? I think that's the main one. And I might even want to get rid of this one, right? Because if we look at our circuit path thingy, where are you at, circuit dudes? These guys are the same. So they are literally the same processor. So there's no need for a nanoprocessor assembly anymore, right? So I think we should get rid of this one so that anybody who's doing that is not gonna need that no more, right? And then what other circuitry dudes do we have? How about over here? We've got this guy, which is... Actually, he's this guy. Over there was this guy. This is this guy over here, right? And the advanced doohickeys are also in here, right? That would be this guy. Advanced circuit parts. Cool. So we should replace this guy as well. And he needs, if we were to look him up, right now the recipe we're using is this one. Instead, we could use this one, which requires an advanced system on a chip and fiber reinforced boards, which I think we have. So these are the 2 things we're going to want to make. And these guys can both be made with Naquita doped wafers, which is why it was cool to make those, right? Now that we've got Naquita doped wafers kind of automated, we just need a yellow garnet lens and a topaz lens with precision laser engravers. So what we're going to want is 2 more precision laser engravers, right? EV tiered. And that will significantly reduce the cost of our stuff. So let's do... I'm assuming you don't know how to make laser emitters, right? So we need 4 platinum rods. So get me 4 platinum ingots. We'll turn those into rods manually. I think this is like one of the few things that uses platinum rods, so it just feels like a waste to teach it how to autocraft, right? All that stuff. It's rare that we're actually doing anything with that. So that won't be too big of a deal. All right, let me get the laser emitters, and then we'll be right back. All right, so progress made, but I just realized something that's not ideal. So the advanced system on a chip, dude, does need EV tier precision laser engraving. However, the advanced systems on a chip assembler recipes require LUV, ludicrous voltage, and that's not ideal because we don't have that one yet. We don't have LUV. We've got insane voltage, but we don't have ludicrous voltage. So I started looking at like, okay, well then let's talk about that, right? So ludicrous. So LUV assemblers and machines, they're going to require an LUV machine hull, which is vanadium gallium cables and some chrome. So I'm like, do I want to jump into LUV tier right now? I don't know. I mean, we have a decent amount of battery. So what would be an LUV? So there's an LUV energy orb tier. Oh, wow. 8 Lapitronic energy orbs equate to 1. Wow. That is a large number of... Ouch, is what that is. But doable. But doable, right? I think, you know, we need the IV tier assembler in order to make these batteries. Europium plates. And high-powered integrated circuits. I don't know that we learned these yet. So we need the power IC wafers, indium gallium phosphide dust, and red alloy. Whew. It's a lot of things. I don't know if we're quite ready for that one yet. So I'm like, maybe we'll hold off on that. I mean, this would be fun to make, but now that I'm looking at it, I'm thinking maybe not. Let's instead stick with our assembly line plan, and we'll circle back to this later, once we progress beyond IV tier. One thing I did want to check out is what's power? What can I do for IV tiered power? That's LUV plus power, right? LUV, ZPM, enriched Naquita cells. Yeah, I'm not entirely sure if there's an IV tier. Is there? I guess that's done. I'm not seeing much that shows as an IV-based generator. Right? There's a lot of, you know, these things, but I'm not seeing much by way of generators for IV tier. So, I mean, our multi-block engines are going to have to do until we get to LUV tier, which we'll see. I don't know. We'll figure it out. So anyway, I think it's time to make the assembler, right? Because we've got the power, we've got the batteries, we've got everything we need. I think we start cracking on that multi-block assembler, which should be pretty cool. So that would be the assembly line, which I think we can adjust the tier of simply by replacing the energy input hatches, I think. Let me see if I can look that up a little bit. Now, it's very possible that the assembly line will be able to craft LUV-based stuff. So maybe I can do my things in there. That sounds doable, right? I think that might be a thing we can do. So yeah, let's definitely get this up and running, and then maybe we can use. I'm wondering if it's like these, where like you give it 2 IVs and it'll be an LUV, right? Because like that's what this dude's all about, right? We've got 2 IVs and it's an LUV, right? IV makes LUV. This one I kept, by the way, with 2 EVs because I had a lot of things cooking in there, and it really drains a lot of power, like a really stupid amount of power. If I were to throw these in here, by the way, so it'll work, right? And it goes pretty quickly, but like, look at the power use up there. Like, we're decimating our energy use, and we have 4 engines feeding this thing, and it's not even barely keeping up, right? Like, we're completely wrecking our energy. So throwing it over here, right, this guy will rebuild his energy once he stops processing, and this guy has no problem, right? So as expected, this thing out at LUV tier draws way more power, so I'll keep processing my long-term stuff in that blue one, and anything that I want to work faster, I'll just shift over to the yellow one. That sound cool? All right, so what we need is the assembly line, right? So what don't we know yet how to make? We don't yet know how to make raw carbon fibers. We know how to make that. Robot arm IV and assembler machine casings. Right, that's right. So in order to make the robot arm IV, right, we needed to make electronic motors, which we're going to want the IV-based assembler for, right? So an IV-based assembler, I think, should be one of our first things to make. So that's going to require also some stuff. Wow, conveyor modules, platinum cables, robot arm IV. Oh my goodness, all the things. So why don't we have raw carbon fibers? Don't we know how to make raw carbon fibers? How do we make that? It's an autoclave of carbon dust and palladium. Is that one of those things I just said, like, I'll make a ton of and never need ever again? Probably. Probably. So do we have an autoclave of palladium? We may have an autoclave around here somewhere. Yes, we do. Okay, cool. Should I do that? Yeah, because remember, raw carbon fibers need like 1 millibucket of palladium. So auto-crafting this is going to be a huge nuisance. So I think what I'll do is like I did before. Wow, that's going to be a lot. Like 1 palladium or platinum, it doesn't really matter. Do we have platinum? We do have platinum. Because platinum's the other way to make this, right? Molten platinum. Yep. That's doable. And then how are we for carbon dust? That's silicon. Yeah, we have tons of that. Okay, cool. Alright, I'll be back once I make a bunch of this stuff. Actually, scratch that. I have a better idea. Let's get a Mark 1 chassis. And on the autoclave, I'm going to say, give me these, supplier and provider. And you're going to do that. How's that sound? And then he can provider pipe the carbon fibers. That sounds cool. That sounds cool. I like that plan. And then what we'll do is I'll just throw like a handful of platinum in there. I don't know how much platinum and or palladium we have, but it's all good. I'll just throw like 10 in there, and that should be cool, right? I think we've got more platinum and palladium laying around. I remember I set up a digital miner for that, and it doesn't look like I have a lot of it. So I don't know what went awry, but it doesn't matter. We'll be fine. So that should last me a really long time, right? I think that'll be good. All right, so that solves that problem. All right, what else were we missing? So we really want conveyor module IV, platinum cables, and robot arms. So you're probably going to need to know how to make those platinum cables anyway. And tungsten cables you probably already know. All right, cool. So let me get this stuff taught how to make, and we'll be right back. All right, if my math is correct, I'm going to need 128 annealed copper wire because I need 2 electric motors. Actually, I need double that, right? I need 2 electric motors per robot arm. So I need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 electric motors in total. So I need 8 stacks of annealed copper wire. Oh, that hurts. Is that even possible? We're going to find out real quick, aren't we? Yeah, it's going to hurt a little bit. Let's just do a couple. Let's do 4 of them at a time first. Yeah, I think that... I mean, it worked. It worked. All the copper. So I sent that over to here. I hope that's not a mistake that I learned to regret. But effectively, I wanted this thing to go a little bit faster. And that is nice and fast, actually. Very happy with that decision. Remember how long annealed copper wire used to take to make? That thing's like lightning speed now. It's beautiful. That's actually really cool. See? This is why we're upgrading everything. We're getting uber faster. And then you guys are all coming up here and doing your advanced wire mill thing. Nice. All right, cool. All right, I'm going to do the rest of this crafting and be right back. Wow, that is a lot of annealed copper wire. That is a lot of annealed copper wire. So there's your IV motor, right? So we're going to want... So we need tungsten steel rods, which I think we can easily craft over here in our lathe, right? Should really move... I should really do an EV lathe, but Tungsten steel rods times 2 comes from tungsten steel ingot. I presume, yes, an LV tier is acceptable. Takes 12 seconds, but not the end of the world. So let's get 4 of these. Perfect. And then I have another 256 annealed copper wire on its way, coming along shortly. I noticed I got really low on oxygen from all this process. So I upgraded my oxygen tank to be a little bit bigger, 500 buckets of storage. Honestly, these guys are like the bottleneck. So by doing that, it kind of boosts oxygen production a little bit and helps with all the oxygen we need for annealed copper. See, we've got most of it. It's almost done, but we just definitely need a little bit more. So having a bigger backlog will be good. I might throw a holding enchant on that thing if it becomes a problem in the future, but we'll see. But wow, I probably just burned through a lot of copper. How are we for copper? Not terrible. Could be better days, Dyer. Maybe I'll go kick copper into our production line. I'll be back after I got more crafting done. Is that my... Where's my space station again? I always forget where the space station is. It's like... hard to see on this one. That's not it. I feel like it's... There it is. I knew it was like right here-ish. That's your space station right there. Yeah, get me some copper, please. How about 4 dense coppers? That sounds good. And I remember the one that's like overlapping my spaceship is back home. That's kind of how I remember it, at least. Oh, wow, hello. Very dark out. Okay, gonna go process this stuff. Be right back. All right, so this should get me nice. And then I found that for some reason making this over here is a little bit easier. Probably because I can do this nice and easily. And that looks cool. And then I can get 4 more of these. Perfect. All right, so now if I'm not mistaken, because I did some crafting table shenanigans, I should be able to make an assembler IV right now, because I think I told it how to make all the things. Actually, I don't think I told it how to make conveyor modules. Small tungsten gears is also going to be a thing. So conveyor modules I should probably teach. Excuse me. I think my inventory is desynced, by the way. That happens every now and then, and it's the worst. Be right back. All right, so now, electric motor IV times 2. Really? We're missing 2 more of these? Did I miscount how many I needed? Because I need 1, 2, 3, 4. Right? 5, 6, 7, 8. 9, 10. Oh, I do need more. Okay. So, 128 more of these then? Dude, I gotta say, really, really way faster processing. That took me seconds to make. It's beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. Yeah, everything is feeling way faster now. All right, so we wanted 2 more electric motors so that we can get that. And then the other thing we needed was small tungsten steel gears, which I think we've got a small gear doohickey here, right? So let's do this, right? These are small gears, so we want small, or actually we shouldn't search for small. Tungsten steel gears. Is it 1-to-1? Is that how it works? Yes. 1-to-1. Cool. All right. So once this is done crafting, which should be pretty quick, we're waiting on the neodymium stuff, and that shouldn't be too long. Then we'll put the 2 electric motors in the system, simulating what it's like to have an assembly machine making electric motors. Then we will make the assembly machine so that we can automate electric motors, so that we can then proceed with the rest of this stuff. Beautiful. So 2 more of those, and now we should be able to make everything required for this doohickey, which is cool. Now, is there an easier version of this recipe? I'm just curious. Asking. Not really. Nope, definitely not. There's an easier version of these, but again, we can't make this until we get to LUV tier, which I'm thinking will be the assembly line, but I'm not sure, to be honest with you. But anyway, let's hit the button. Boop. Yay! Yay, it legit has everything it needs. That is beautiful. That is cool. All the things are happening. All right. How great is that? I love automation. You guys know I totally nerd out over automation, and that was a lot of things being crafted all at once. Let's just make sure everything behaves the way we expect it to, but I really think it will. So we'll be back in a few minutes once all this crafting is complete. Yeah, everything's cooking the way you'd want. Nice. Well, hey, would you look at that? Oh, we've got an IV assembler. All right, beautiful. So now we're going to want our stellar alloy cable, of which we made a decent amount. And I'm thinking that's going to come up here. This is going to be like a, on-demand craft kind of deal. So this will be the spacing, and then this is where the machines will go. This line here. Does that seem fair? Because it's 1, 2 in the machines, right? 1, 2 in the machines, 1, 2 in the machines. Keeping the pattern. Keeping the pattern. So how can we run this such that we don't have any major crises? I think this is Enderium cable, right? So we should be very careful about this dire wire that we're about to do, because we don't want to connect things that don't belong connected. But I think that's safe. I That seems pretty safe. Seems pretty safe. IV-based assembler. Booyah. That is cool. And I'm thinking what I'll do is probably... How do we want to do this? Do we want to run that over to here? Or do we just want to run it straight across the back? Like, straight across the back would be the shortest, but I think it would also be the uglier way to do it. So maybe we'll do something like this. Because in preparation for the fact that we're going to have several more IV-based machines, I would imagine. Maybe we won't. I don't know. Right? That should be cool. So you are a basic pipe, you're a basic pipe. I just hate when things are red, but I think that means there's nothing on this side. So now we can here put our stuff. Do I have any better chassis pipes, or am I out of chassis pipes? I don't think we have any good chassis pipes. You know what I think I'm going to do, though, is I'm going to use the crafting manager for this. I think that would be the good call, right? With a result and a satellite pipe and a chest. Actually, give me the slightly larger chest is what I've been using for these. I think that's a little bit better. I was going to do something with a hopper before I changed my mind. Fluid crafting, advanced extraction. Yeah. Let's chisel this guy probably into the crafting buffer upgrade. Yeah, I think that's a good call. Okay. So you're going to be a satellite pipe. And then back here, we're going to have a result pipe. And you will be called IV assemble. IV assemble. Cool. And that means that you really can't be here like this cabling, but that's okay. We'll fix that in a minute. Okay. You there. Crafting buffer upgrade will go into you. Sweet. And now we can teach you, and then don't forget we're also going to need probably an IV fluid extractor, because like all the other things, we're going to need to turn annealed copper into liquid annealed copper, right? So IV fluid extractor should probably go there. So let's get one of those ready to roll. IV fluid extractor. So not terribly easy to make. We're going to need 2 more. Actually, I don't think I taught it how to make electric pumps. Yeah, I didn't teach it how to make electric pumps, did I? Rip. That's going to be an assembler recipe as well that I really wish I could make just work without having to manually make real quick. Let's do this. Let's do some hokery. This is going to be hokey, but it's going to be a temporary hokey. You ready? I'm going to place a chest here. Okay. And then that'll be the simulated version. This is just shenanigans now. Now I'm just being silly. Satellite logistic pipe. You're going to be the simulated version. Okay. And you're going to be IV fluid extractor 1. That sounds cool. Okay. So what we're going to do now is we're going to say, you're going to go, your default satellite is IV assembler. Your default result is IV assembler, right? Now, I don't know exactly, but what we want is the motor, the IV motor. Do you need a thingy for that? You don't. Okay. How about IV pump? You don't need a thingy for that either. Have you needed any thingies? You haven't needed any thingies. So then let's put this on blocking mode for now. And if it turns out that we need a circuit card thingy, we'll do it. Cool. Now what's this for? This is apparently nothing. So we'll do IV pump will go here. And that in an assembler is going to be 648. What is that? 4? 4.5. Beautiful. So that means we have to double this. That means we have to double this thing. So we're going to want 9 tungsten steel ingots to go into the IV fluid extractor. And that's going to make 2 electric pumps. So we're going to need 4 rubber wings, tungsten steel cable times 2. 4 of those, medium tungsten steel pipes, 2, and IV motors, 2. Right? And that should make me 2 electric pumps. And that will make the even amount of 9 of that stuff. Cool. And then in addition to that, we want the IV motors. Whoops. And for that, we're going to want 2 tungsten steel cables, 2 tungsten cables. 2 tungsten cables. That's tungsten steel. We want tungsten. Right? And let's just validate that this is tungsten. This is tungsten cable. I put tungsten steel cable. See, I did the wrong one. Good thing we double checked, huh? So that's 1 tungsten cable. Tungsten, tungsten steel, very confusing. And then 2 tungsten steel rods. And then 1 magnetic neodymium rod, right? And then we're going to want 4608. So that's 32 annealed copper. Going into the IV fluid extractor 1. Cool. So by doing that, this simulates the IV fluid extractor. And then what we'll do is we'll put that in here, get the fluid, and then move it over. And that should be cool. All right, guys, so let's call that wrapping up point for the episode. We'll come back next episode. We'll test this all out, get it all crafting, and then we're going to work towards making that big multi-block assembly machine. For now, Double 20 signing off. Hope you enjoyed the episode. Take it easy.